What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and for today I wanted to do another top 10 video for you guys. This time around I want to take a look at the top 10 best support type characters currently available in Marvel Future Fight. This is something I've been seeing in the comments for a little while now, and since we don't have that many really good support types, I wasn't gonna make this video, but I've been seeing it more and more, so I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and do that one. So this is what we're doing today, guys. We're gonna start it off just like always. We're gonna start from number 10 and work our way up all the way to number 1. And the main thing for these characters that I put on the list is their ability to help others. So some of them may be great characters on their own, but we're not judging them based on that. We're judging them based on how well they help others in their team. That's what we're judging them based off of, okay guys? So number 10 for me is actually going to be a character that is completely useless on his own. However, if you get him his uniform, he actually becomes a freaking amazing character in every right. But on top of that, he actually becomes a support type, which is why he has to be on this list, and that is actually going to be Venom in his anti-Venom uniform, because although he becomes a great character with amazing survivability, which is what the character lacks, his uniform bonus actually becomes very similar to Groot's tier 2 passive, where it allows him to heal his allies. As you guys can see right here, whenever his allies are hit, there is a 30% chance that they will recover 15% of their max HP on a 20-second timer. So that is great, and this right here is why I put him on this list, because if you're struggling, even if you have a really weak Venom and you put the anti-Venom uniform on him and put him in your team, then immediately your other characters are gonna get a heal. That is great. So if you guys are struggling in World Boss, struggling in Shadowland stages, you have an extra heal that is going to help you there. So Venom for me has to be on this list. It becomes a really useful support type if you need those. Number 9 for me is actually going to be a character that I put on this list for a combination of both his tier 2 passive and his leadership. Overall, he's just a decent character, but in terms of what he does for others on his team, it is very, very good, and that is going to be Ronin, guys. Ronin I put on this list at number 9 because of the fact that he gives you a leadership right here that gives you 36% all attack, 36% all defense, which is great. That is a massive bump to both your offense and your survivability. And on top of that, you get 20% ignore dodge when you tier 2 him. Not the greatest tier 2 passive, I must be honest with you guys, but as the game has evolved, we've seen more and more characters getting guaranteed dodge in their kit, so having a little bit of ignore dodge in your kit is never a bad thing. So for that reason, Ronin has to be placed on this list as a decent support type for me. So holding down the number 9 spot is going to be my man Ronin. Number 8 for me, guys, is going to be a character that's kind of losing her place in the game right now. However, what remains to be true is that she is still one of the best support types currently available, and that is Daisy, guys. Daisy with this uniform, without the uniform she's still decent, but with the uniform she holds down the number 8 spot for me because of the 3rd skill right here, more bang for your punch. As you guys can see, it works very similar to an obelisk, where whenever you use this skill, she will increase the damage whatever character you choose to swap in after you swap her out by 180% for 2 times. That is an amazing buff, guys. If you pop this 3rd skill and hit another character skill, someone like Proxima that has a great freaking 5 skill, they will do a ton of freaking damage, and you can one-shot a lot of bosses in World Boss mode or a lot of Shadowland stages. So if you go on YouTube right now, you'll still see a lot of videos popping up with this skill being taken advantage of. So for that reason, Daisy holding down the number 8 spot for me as a decent support type, guys. Number 7 is going to be a guy that's slowly falling down this list. At one point, he was almost at the top. Actually, at one point, he was at the top. But as the game has evolved, he's kind of lost his place, mainly because outside of his tier 2 passive, he's not a very good character, but his tier 2 passive is still very good, and he has a very good 5th skill. As you guys can see, I have him at tier 2, and that is Werewolf, guys. Werewolf, he has a great 5 skill right here. Leadership is decent, I will not lie. Leadership is decent, but he has a great 5 skill, increases all attack by 80%, guys. 80%. If the cooldown wasn't so high, he would have been higher on this list. But 80%, guys, that is huge. On top of that, whenever you tier 2 him, he has an amazing tier 2 passive right here that gives you 30% increase to critical damage and guaranteed crit rate increased by 20%. So I got to put him on this list at number 7. My guy Werewolf, I really want to see more out of him. I would like him to get a slight rework to a couple of his other skills to make him a playable character on his own. But as a support type, he's definitely very, very good, guys. Number 6 for me is actually going to be Groot, guys. Groot's tier 2 passive is why I put him so high. However, if you have this uniform, he belongs here or a little bit higher on this list because the heal from the tier 2 passive is amazing already. Already amazing. But on top of that, the 3 skill now has a heal. The 5 skill now has a heal. That is amazing, guys. So you could type him in, you could pop this, tag him out, and you're healing like crazy. It's a heal bonanza, guys. So yeah, Groot, amazing freaking support character, and he can hold his own in any game mode. Well, not any. He can't hold his own in ABX, but everything else is fair game, even PvP. So this little bad boy right here, he's a beast. Number 6 for me, guys, Groot in the speed uniform, for sure, for sure. Number 5 is a little bit debatable whether or not he should be above Groot, but personally I like him, and I think he's just as good as Groot in certain aspects of the game. Is actually going to be Beast, guys. Papa Smurf in his younger days, you know, holding it down at the number 5 spot for me is actually going to be Beast. 1, for his leadership, absolutely amazing. Tier 2 passive is decent, not as good as Werewolf's, but it's decent. And he also has a similar but weaker 5 skill. So 3 reasons why he's on this list. And on top of that, he can hold his own. So kind of why he's a little bit higher than Groot, and why he's so much higher than a Werewolf, because he can hold his own in every game mode. World Boss, Alliance Battle, ABX, you name it, he can hold it down. So definitely got to salute the Papa Smurf right here, the big blue beast. Okay, so number 5 for me is Beast, guys. Number 4 is actually going to be the Ancient One, the Jack of all trades, man. Absolutely love this guy. If you haven't been following me very long, go ahead and check out some of the videos on this channel with this guy, man. Absolutely love him. Great character. Amazing 5 skill, similar to Groot. It gives you a heal. And this heal actually, it actually deals damage. So that is great. I absolutely love this. One of my favorite things about this skill. So not only are you healing, but whenever enemies step inside the healing dome, it has a negative effect on them. So they take damage. Absolutely fantastic. Then he has a great leadership similar to Beast, and he has an amazing tier 2 passive. It doesn't seem that amazing when you're thinking about it, but if you have any character that deal any kind of elemental damage, they get a 25% increase to that damage. So people like Jean Grey, people like Loki, people like Inferno, people like Dormammu, you name it. A lot of them won't be able to benefit from the leadership, but the ones that can, they get a massive increase to their DPS. And on top of that, he gets Ignore Dodge added as a part of his tier 2 passive. All of this gets applied to the team. Fan-freaking-tastic. Absolutely love him. And the reason why I tier 2'd him was because of this tier 2 passive. He's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Believe me, guys, if you get him, it'll change your life. You'll see him on pretty much every single team when it comes to World Boss Ultimate. Okay, so definitely an amazing character to have. Number 3 for me, guys, is actually going to be the Wasp. And I know this is gonna cause a bunch of controversy. Why is she so high? But maybe I'm high, but I think the Wasp is a fantastic character in every sense. She has a decent leadership. The 5 skill right here provides you with a dome. It's not a healing dome or anything like that, but it makes you completely immune to damage. So you can put this up, tag her out, and whatever character you're using, whether or not they're a weak character, they will have complete immunity for a few seconds. So that right there is amazing. And on top of that, she has one of the best tier 2 passives in the game, which allows you to go debuff free, and being able to go without getting time frozen, without getting stunned, without getting snared, binded, paralyzed, whatever else they want to put, fear. It's just too amazing for me, guys. I cannot tell you guys how many fights I've lost by the enemy simply CCing me into oblivion. Absolutely hate that. So for me, the Wasp is always a priority character, and I will always value her tremendously. I was not always like this. When the Wasp first came out, I thought this was absolute garbage when she got this. However, this has made my life so much easier. Okay, so this right here is the reason why she's so high on the list. But the 5 skill and the leadership is definitely a good thing about the character. Absolutely love the Wasp, man. I can't stress that enough. Number 2, Coulson. One of the worst characters in the game, but when it comes to dealing a bunch of damage and getting stuff done very, very quickly, he's your guy. I wouldn't buy his uniform, but I'll tell you guys right now that Coulson is definitely the number 2, and in some people's eyes, the number 1 as the best support character in the game. But for me, he's number 2, and that is mainly because of his tier 2 passive. That's it. That is it, guys. As you guys can see, none of his skills are leveled up, and if you've been following me for even 2 days and you've watched 2 of my videos, you'll notice one thing. My skills almost always at 6. And the fact that I have a character at tier 2 and none of his skills are leveled, that should tell you just how I feel about the character. All the skills, absolute garbage. The tier 2 passive, fan-freaking-tastic. That's all I have to say, guys. The only downside about this is it only applies to superheroes. So if you have like Thanos on your team and you put Coulson on your team, he's not going to make Thanos deal any more damage. Okay, a lot of people make that mistake. I've made that mistake, but believe me when I say it only ever applies to heroes, and the ones that it do apply to, they deal a ton of freaking damage. Check out some of the videos of Coulson being used, man. I don't need to tell you guys that this is one of the best tier 2 passives in the game, for sure, for sure. Number 1 is actually going to be another character that has a similar passive to Coulson. It's a little bit weaker, whereas you guys can see right here, Coulson gives you some guaranteed crit rate, okay? Keep that in mind. Number 1 for me is actually Valkyrie. And this is why I said most people would put Coulson at 1 and her at 2, simply because her tier 2 passive, it's very, very similar, but she does not give you the crit rate. But what she does give you is complete control, where this will be applied to all allies, heroes or villains, does not matter, which is a huge thing, guys. This is amazing. The fact that it applies to all allies means you can use it for anyone, whenever, as long as there's not a restriction saying combat characters cannot be used or whatever. So the fact that it applies to all allies is the reason why I place her at number 1 and Coulson at number 2, because that opens up the rest of the field. Okay, with Coulson, you have to kind of stick with heroes, where heroes for the most part control this game. There's about 70% heroes in the game, if not even more than that right now, and with her on your team, you're getting access to the other 30% that Coulson would not give you access to. Okay, so that's why I place her at number 1. And to be honest, of all the characters on the list, if we're going to say which one is the best, like overall, it has to be her. She can hold her own in every single game mode. The only fault with this character is her survivability, but her DPS at tier 1, phenomenal. And at tier 2, of course, it will be phenomenal with a tier 2 passive like this, okay? So definitely going to give the number 1 spot to my girl Valkyrie, man. And that is it for the list, guys. Top 10 best support characters in my eyes. Let me know what you guys think. If you have a different list, let me know in the comments. If you have anyone that I left off this list, let me know in the comments. And that's it for this one, guys. Like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace and love.